time down through the Dunlop S's. Cadillac leads Le Mans, Porsche goes second. The flag is waved at the LMP2 and then the GT3 cars. Aston Martin leading, BMW leading, Ferrari leading, Mercedes AMG in the LMGT3 class. That's some pretty feisty racing for the first few corners, Graham.
Well, it certainly was. I think a bit of contact there in the middle of the pack or towards the back of the pack in hypercar. One of the Peugeots, I think, involved in that. We'll catch up with that.
Watch Alpine. Yes. Yeah, the Alpine, the BMW is still not off the limiter. No, so we do see this very occasionally, the electronics glitch, and it does not.
That's how it looked on board.
Yes, indeed. He's been following, maybe just stymied a little with the traffic, but it was a good slipstreaming move here from AFA. Tried to go defensive, wasn't the room to do it though this time. Watch to the right, there goes the Ferrari. Compromises entry though there, over the curb to the inside. That gave the opportunity for Ryokawa to go to the right-hand drivers to avoid contact, but both the pink Ligiers stumbling across the gravel trap and will rejoin.
Yeah, but that could have been a lot nastier than it turned out. That's cold tyres, I would imagine, and just not enough track space for the opening lap. Agostini late on the brake. Oh, there's contact though with Celia Martin, and was that blue and white Ferrari fully alongside?
Also trying to put a move on Jonas Reed and does so, and Jonas is straight under pressure from the 43 car. Side by side this time by the Algarve Pro man up the inside of Jonas Reed as he got in.
Let's see what happened. There up the inside goes the United Autosports Oreca, bang into the back of Chris Froggatt. So that was the first incident that Heinemeier Hansen had. Look, Chris Froggatt gets a rude welcome to Le Mans as the Ziggo Sport Tempesta Ferrari gets turned around. And you can see the amount of taskmate, David Heinemeier Hansen trying to get the car back in the right direction. The adrenaline is pumping and pumping.
Two Ferraris nose to tail. The second, the Aston Martins, that 007, Harry Tingle behind, Phil Hansen, and he's just been, so the other Ferrari 50 car, Nick Nielsen, trying to have a go, but the Aston Martin has got long legs on this straight.
The Aston Martin making progress here.
And the second of the Porsche is the number 6 car, Lawrence Vantor, up behind Mike Conway's Toyota. He didn't get through.
15 BMW taking a look up the inside of
Nielsen Competitions LMP2 car suffered damage, clattering the barriers in the S's as the slippery track caught him out on slick tyres. He wasn't the only one either. The number 4 car from Porsche Penske Motorsport heading into the Porsche curves. Again, the tyres designed for dry conditions, just not handling the still damp track. For overall victory, but there are 2 other categories, prototypes in the LMP2 class and road-going supercars in the GTE AM class. A Pro-Am competition that battles the likes of Porsche, Ferrari and Aston Martin head-to-head. Pink Iron Dames Porsche and Project One's Rexy with a T-Rex livery inspired by driver PJ Hyatt's kids battling for a podium spot.
We're working lap number 14 here and great battles going on. Look, between Porsche and Toyota. Oh, so close as Mike Conway tries to clear Felipe Nasr. Nasr on the inside, Conway on the outside, and they've got traffic up the road, just able to dive past the Corvette, but that was brave racing, Peter Dumbrake. Oh, and a big slide there for the Peugeot that goes off the road. Caught out by the air in the traffic and heading towards the tyres. Yes, big contact. Bodywork flies, wheel off. And there he...
Trying to get alongside his teammate. The 51 car, James Collado, the pole sitter. The Fred cars are side by side. They run out wide. Collado keeps his nose in front. And the 3rd place, Blue Alpine, ahead of the gold of the 1st of the Cadillacs. Earl Bamber started 4th on the grid. Has he made it through? It looks, in fact, it's the BMW 3rd. So that is Kevin Magnussen. Good, clean start, but the Ferrari's already showing. And drama, bits flying off. One of the Peugeots was on.
Le Mans to this point. Zach Robichon in the heart of racing, number 27. Aston Martin sits in 5th place, and then the TF Sport 81 Corvette of Rui Andrade.
And the surviving Ford Mustang, just to touch on that briefly, is in 52nd place for Ben Tuck at the wheel of it, and I mentioned that because Ben always has lots of support from people watching online.
It's now big battle on for the second of the Algarve Pro Racing cars. No, sorry, the first of them. And around the outside goes Philippe Albuquerque into the Villeneuve chicane. Terrific pass.
Great pass for Philippe Albuquerque, and he needed to get that done. Scott Noble goes up the inside of Horst Felbermayr, who's aboard the number 60 Proton competition Porsche this weekend.
Well, Felbermayr had overtaken, I think, both of these into the first corner, and then out on the exit, like you say, Scott Noble got back.
But Delatraz being able to slot in front of the Inter-Europol competition car, hanging on to that place as they come through that first sequence of corners, the Dunlop S's. In Alan GT3, good getaway by Mathieu Drudi. He was well clear of the opposition when they got to the line and was able to keep that class lead all the way to the first round of pit stops. Felipe Nasr, and off the road there, look, goes 22. David Heinemeier Hansson has had a spin.
Sometimes being the hunter is hard, but being the hunted is often much harder.
Yeah, absolutely. I always prefer to be sort of hunting someone down and using them as the pace, but you can see this is a real drag race down into turn one here between the 5 and the Peugeot.
Into Sunday, and it had boiled down to what was probably likely to be a 2-horse race. The number 8 Toyota and the number 51 Ferrari that had been in the gravel traps earlier on. The leaders were on the same strategy, a change of nose for Toyota to try and address a front-end balance problem. The Ferrari was in the pits as well and left ahead. Swift pit work is all part.
The Iron Lynx AMG Andrew Gilbert, and that's contact there, that's super slow-mo. It's the CLX Pure Racing car and TDS 37 and 29 in the Ford chicane. That was pretty substantial contact between the two as well. Which again, yeah.
It's not somewhere you expect a car to dive down your inside, so you've got...
Oh yeah, just lost it. He had a bit of a tank slapper on the exit of turn 9 there. Doesn't hit the barrier. Oh no! Oh no! The absolute nightmare scenario for Jota has just happened. Alex Lynn directly into the back of Jenson Button's car. Both cars down.
And into the pit lane comes James Collado to hand over to Antonio Giovinazzi. And that means that back into the lead goes Phil Hansen in the AF Corsa Ferrari, right on the stroke of 10 hours complete, 9 hours completed. So as we get to the...
Sorted in traffic, but actually Ollie Caldwell takes the position. Ollie Caldwell takes the opportunity in traffic and jumps Thomas Laurent's DK Engineering car.
All 4 cars are now off. That's the LMP3 entry from DKRN for Jamie Chadwick. The rest of them flood their way through the first sequence of 3 corners that are in quick succession here. La Gauche corner, where the drone is right above, and then this tricky left-hand kink that leads them onto the back straight. Everyone through in LMP3.
GT3 behind though, Darren Leung into turn 1 up the inside and grabbed that lead from Tony McIntosh.
Seem to remember him being brave at the start a couple of times in turn 1. We had a couple of cars run out wide, Rene Rast, and not sure who was behind him, but there's a move on the inside of the number 5, Antonio Giovinazzi trying to hang on. Julian Andlau going the long way round the outside and cuts across. Early on for the number 20 BMW Art car, one of BMW's new hypercar contenders, off in the gravel at the final chicane on the lap. Well, a disappointment for the crew, and the extensively modified car would spend a lot of time in the garage. It was not destined to be a finisher. With the speed of the cars, safety precautions are back to green flag racing and Toyota taking the upper hand. The Japanese team have 5 consecutive wins here at Le Mans, and rain was always likely to play into their experienced hands. Sebastian Bourdais in the number 3 Cadillac, one of a number of cars caught out by a heavy downpour in the first couple of hours. It's side by side, the orange and black cars, Lexus and Ferrari, both with a car on row 2 and row 3.
Bit of contact further back down the pack with the blue Porsche and the yellow Corvette, who muscles his way by.
And on board with the Porsche, and this...
That's on board the Mustang.
No, that's the Mustang, you're right.
Up the inside of the Iron Dames. Way wide there.
That was key.
Television.
As he should, his form has been
absolutely
stellar.
absolutely. And he's a proper bloke that's come out of UK club racing and done this the hard way with next to no budget. So it's always good to see Ben going well. Right, I think now you're going to have Sarah Bovey coming back. Yes, definitely at Lila Wadu. Goes to the outside line, coming out of Terre Rouge then. Good stuff. Gets a toe, gets that side draft. The Porsche should be ahead by the time they get to the first chicane.
Agostini late on the brakes, and Clement Matter doesn't fight it. That for me is the better option. You know that the blue and white car is being driven by a higher graded driver.
So pushing hard at this stage, everybody.
Here's Conrad Lawson down the inside of Celia Martin.